What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone out there is doing well and having a great start to your 2022. This is a Going Broadway Podcast. It is Thursday morning. It is Alex and Cole with you this morning. Cole, what's going on?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. It is 2022, and nothing's changed. It's still the greatest wrestling podcast ever, which means we have a lot to talk about today.
Especially whenever we've had 2 weeks off, and I will say a lot of the recent happenings, if you will, have just been within the last 48 hours, really. So,
right.
We got a lot to talk about. So just a blanket good morning to everybody. If you're joining us via Facebook, I do want to put this out there. Within the next few weeks, we will be completely phasing out streaming on Facebook. We'll be eventually going to Twitch and YouTube only. So if you don't have one of those two, if you don't have an account on either one of those, so if you only have a Facebook account, let's put it this way, and you only watch this via Facebook, please either get a YouTube account or a Twitch account so you can catch our live streams. I would say probably beginning of February is when we're going to make that transition. So, again, just a blanket good morning to everybody, and we're going to jump right in. What do we want to talk about first?
I'm pulling my notes up here because there was a handful of things. But,
I just saw your phone, and it's just like on your.
But we said there was a couple things that transpired here in the last 48 hours. So let's kind of start from the most recent and work our way back and see where we are on time.
Cool.
So last night we had a tag title match between Jurassic Express and the Lucha Bros, and there was a pretty nasty table spot that ended in the result of Rey Fénix, from what I'm reading online, is that at the very least a broken arm, if not more. It was disgusting. If anyone's ever dislocated or broken something, when you see that kind of stuff on TV, it makes you
it was not good.
It makes you relive your injury. And so I've dislocated my shoulder several times. And
wow, you're totally off camera.
Oh, my bad, y'all. Hello. This is what happens when you don't check your camera.
That's what happens when you're doing live TV.
There we go. Anyways, after a while, and then they showed the replay, and I told Alex, I literally got sick to my stomach. It was that nasty. I guess the question I have to Alex, I kind of asked him before the show, but it kind of seemed like we got robbed of maybe some other things happening. One, I don't think Jurassic Express was supposed to win this match.
Let's take it one at a time. We'll take one thing at a time.
Jurassic Express, were they supposed to win this match? I mean,
I don't know. Okay, I point to a number of different things. So it wasn't that the ending seemed rushed necessarily, but it was Jungle Boy's expression on his face whenever they won the match. It was, so they panned to the crowd and they showed Jungle Boy's, I think it was his mother and his sister were in the crowd. And, I'm not saying that, I don't know if they're a family of actors or if they're in drama or theater or whatever, but their emotion seemed awfully real. Now, it could be attributed to the fact that, we're having a tag title match. We're not going to tell you what the result of it is. You just need to be surprised. So that could be part of it as well. But something seemed off with the finish. And it's one of those things I can't put my finger on it. I don't know. I definitely think it's worth speculating. Let's put it that way. Because the expression on Jungle Boy's face was like one of surprise, also one of almost, I don't want to say disappointment, but it was just kind of like, if you're reading expressions, I got a sense of surprise, a sense of maybe disappointment because I didn't want my first championship win to turn out like this, because obviously if Lucha Bros were supposed to win, then I don't know. It seemed awkward, I think is the right word. The rest of the match after Phoenix's injury seemed out of place almost.
No direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's like, okay, now what do we do now? And it makes me wonder if Phoenix was supposed to be involved with the finish. Not necessarily. We can speculate if they were supposed to win or not win, but it definitely tells me that Phoenix was supposed to be at least involved in the finish in some way, shape, or form.
So I'm going to lean on the side of, I don't think Jurassic Express was supposed to win this match. And for some of the same sentiments of what you just said. One, the reactions after the match, even Luchasaurus, it was kind of like,
yeah,
it's kind of like they didn't have a plan of what they were going to do. Everything's planned, y'all. The celebration is planned.
Shocker.
Everything.
Spoiler.
They know what they're going to do. It was almost like Christian came into the ring to tell them, y'all need to sell this. Y'all need to make it look like you were supposed to win.
Yeah, could have been.
Like it almost seemed like they had him pulling his veteran card for a second there because he was doing a lot of hugging and just like,
really trying to hype it up, but it was kind of like they didn't know what to do.
And I think if you know where storylines were headed, I don't know how much all of them know, but maybe there was a really big payoff for Lucha Bros that they're not going to get now. Whether it was going to be another match with FTR, whether it was going to be a match with Red Dragon, that was probably not too far off from happening.
Which they can still go that route, especially, Red Dragon against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy especially. They've kind of feuded lately, but then again, it's AEW. Everybody's kind of feuded with everybody in the last 3 months.
Right. So it's one of those, like, maybe there was a big payoff, and that's why they were just kind of sad for Lucha Bros in general, but for Rey Fenix, because they know, I'm sure they were told, yeah, that dude's in bad shape. And the problem is they're not cameraing angling down to Rey Fenix or Penta because they're trying to get people attention off of them. So they're just staying on Jurassic Express, and then they're doing random pans to the crowd and to all the different wrestlers. They had all the other tag teams come out. That didn't seem planned. That seemed like it was out of left field too. There was just a lot that seemed like it was all kind of like, oh crap, this just happened. Let's do this.
We got to call an audible.
They went to Chris Jericho twice in the crowd, and every time the camera finally got to him, he didn't even know it. He then smiled just for a second and was like, why are we panning to Chris Jericho in the crowd? He doesn't even have a tag partner. Malachi Black, which is kind of transitions into my other thought. Malachi Black is sitting in the crowd, doesn't have a tag partner that we know of.
But they teased it.
Now, if you watch his promos that Evan posted, they had teased a House of Black member, the first member, debuting tonight on AEW.
Last night on
AEW. So when Penta and Phoenix came out the first time during Malachi Black's match, the lights went out. They basically switched spots, and they were all in the ring, and he was on the ramp.
Yep.
It was a little tease. I think at the end of the show, what was supposed to happen is the lights were supposed to go out after Lucha Bros won, and Malachi Black would have been on the ramp, but behind them would have been mystery member number 1 of House of Black,
which was speculated to be Brody King, and it was in fact, I'll go as far as to say it was speculated. I forgot who published this or released it, whatever word you want to call it, but the rumor was Brody King was supposed to debut last night, and that just feeds into our speculation that maybe this didn't go the way it was supposed to. Maybe they had to call an audible. Now, I will say this. We have said on the podcast before that AEW has not been the best as far as pulling an audible. In this instance, I commend AEW for pulling this audible. If this is what happened, I think that sending Christian in to help Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, sell this was a great move. Again, guys, we're just speculating. We're not saying we know that this happened. We're not Lucha Bros. Maybe we're supposed to drop the tag belts. We don't know. We're, again, just speculating. I just want to make that abundantly clear. But the entire duration of the rest of the match after Phoenix's injury really seemed lack of direction is what it felt like.
There's 2 more thoughts. David Tilley brings up one of them. There's the other one that I'm thinking of as well. David Tilley says Marco Stunt would more than likely have been out there had that been a planned win for Jurassic Express. I truly believe, I'm not a huge Marco Stunt fan.
See, I don't.
It's shocking that he has been that big part of their team and been around with them for every single big match. But then the one they're actually supposed to win the belts for, he's nowhere to be seen.
I think there could be other things going on that might be attributed to the fact that we haven't seen him on AEW for a
couple weeks, at least
months. I know he tried out for The Voice and all that. I don't think that would. Jericho tours internationally, and he still does. He took a month off, but he's still on TV. trying out for The Voice does not mean you're going to be off AEW for 3 or 4 months. I think there's, and this is a whole nother topic that we can't even go into, A, for time's sake, and B, because I have no idea where to even begin, but where are a lot of people that we don't see on AEW TV? Marco Stunt, Brian Cage.
Oh, that's a big one.
I mean, it's like there's odd stuff that's just, I wonder if there's like backstage stuff that obviously we're not privy to. And anyway, that's a whole other topic.
The last thought I have is Battle of the Belts is literally this Saturday. It's weird to me that you have a special night. I'm not going to call it pay-per-view, but a special night off a regular scheduling program on TNT that's going to be all about showcasing all your belts. We kind of talked about this before the show. You only have 2 matches announced for this night. Mm-hmm. It seems weird to me that you would have your tag team champions drop the belts the Wednesday night beforehand.
Oh, agreed.
Because the only thing you could really do is a rematch. That's the only thing. Like, there would really be no other thought of.
But they're already doing a rematch.
Well, not now. I get what you're saying with Sammy and Cody, but I'm saying for the tag belts, there would be no other storyline really to build up because you didn't do a number 1 contenders match or anything like that. There was nothing. So it's just gonna be like throwing somebody in the match because you wanted to.
I think whatever's gonna happen is with the tag straps, with the world title, we're just gonna get a random match for both of those championships. And that,
what a terrible way to book an event though that's about showcasing all your belts.
Well, here's what. Okay, I'll get to what I was going to say in a second. I want to wrap up the tag title situation thought. The more we talk about it, the more I'm inclined to believe that Lucha Bros were supposed to retain, because by fault or not, most wrestling promotions will play it safe going into a pay-per-view or a special event, and they won't do title changes the week of a special event, pay-per-view, etc. Given the lack of storyline with Jurassic Express winning, sure, you can throw them against, like we said, you can throw them against Red Dragon or whoever, quite frankly, but it's like back in the day, whenever WCW, NWA/WCW had their Clash of the Champions, there was a massive build to most, if not every single match on those cards. And to me, if you're trying to be akin to that, I mean, they went with Battle of the Belts because they couldn't do Clash of the Champions name. To me, I think Lucha Bros were supposed to retain, and I'll wrap my thoughts up.
To me, it felt like it was going to be Lucha Bros retain, and the match that they were going to have was going to be Malachi Black and whoever his partner was. That's where I thought it was headed.
Yeah.
Lights go out, debut of Malachi Black's partner. Probably on Friday night on Rampage, they'll announce that match that is official, that it's going to be Malachi Black, Brody King versus them. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. So there was that thought.
So the other thing I was going to bring up, kind of while we were on the topic, is the world title situation. By the way, for what it's worth, I thought their match last night was
the match we should have had the first time.
Much better.
The match we should have had the first time.
Now, I'll say this. You really should have flip-flopped, excuse me. You should have flip-flopped the 2 matches. What we should have had was excuse me. We should have had the 30 to 35 minute match that we had last night. Let's put it this way. We should have flip-flopped the matches in terms of time duration. What I would have been okay with is Hangman retaining the first match, but it be by like count out or DQ, or even Bryan Danielson winning the match by DQ, count out, whatever, setting up last night's match. I would have had every single facet of last night's match the same, but I would have actually had it go the hour time limit. What I would have done is Hangman Page sets up for his buckshot lariat. What they should have done, in my opinion, is keep wanting to call him Daniel Bryan. They should have had Bryan Danielson actually kick out of that and just progress the match further. Now, at that point in the match, that spot should have happened more like 45, 50 minutes into the match. Just my opinion. And then they could have, continued for the last 10, 15 or so minutes, whatever. I get the tease with having the judges there in case of another time limit draw, but it almost seems pointless if you're not going to have a time limit draw. Like if you just know, here's my thing. If you want to tease that they're going to have a time limit draw, then just say something like, once they go the hour time limit, or if it goes the hour time limit, then they'll be given an extra 10-minute overtime period or something like that. And usually when given the overtime periods, it's a given that there's going to be a clear winner.
I just have had, and you know this, I've just had a problem with the way this thing's been booked from the get-go. I didn't like that they hot-shotted Bryan Danielson into the title picture as quick as they did. I didn't like the time limit draw, the second one for Bryan Danielson at that, with his short time in the company.
Well, and not to mention the time limit draw with Hangman seemed like the matches seemed to drag on. Last night's match, I could have. It's all about how you frame the match, or
right.
how the match is constructed, I guess, in terms of, they obviously talk about stuff ahead of time, but I'm sure stuff is done on the fly, on the spot, whatever. Last night's match, I could have done the hour time limit.
So what bothered me about last night's match is that you do the whole judge storyline, and then you don't even use them.
Yeah,
exactly. To me, I expected the match to go an hour long. I expected it to be a draw again, because I thought with a draw that had judges that decide the match, it would have protected DB to still lose. If you would have had 2 out of 3 say Hangman Page won the match, DB didn't lose fair and square. He lost by a judge's decision, not because somebody pinned him or whatever. And you could still go on with the storyline. DB's never been pinned or never been whatever. As protected as they keep their top guys, I thought that was surely what was going to happen. And then in like 35 minutes when he got hit with the buckshot lariat or whatever and it was over, I was almost kind of left shocked, like not in a good way shocked. Like, I can't believe you just had DB take a pin after all the stuff you did to make sure he didn't take a pin. Like, it just, that's the part that didn't make sense.
And
to
the
me.
aesthetics of it is, I get that, I get that that's his finisher, but ultimately, it's just a clothesline.
But who else is kicked out of it? Because I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega kicked out of like 2 of them, right?
Well, I mean, it's not exactly the most protected finish in the world. People have kicked out of it.
DB's known, I got to say BD now, but he's known to be the guy that is the one to kick out of that stuff, though. He's the resilient, This did not feel like they booked him correctly, in my opinion, to continue for him to be that kind of guy. That was my only issue with the match. The match itself was great. It was also weird that this is the second time they've kicked off a show with it, though.
I think they did that to further tease the fact that, okay, we opened up the last show with this match and went the time limit draw. We're going to do the exact same thing to tease the fans, to make them think that it's going to go the hour time limit on top of the judges. And I don't know. We'll kind of wrap up our thoughts in general with AEW with this, but I've been reading online where people were like raving about Dynamite last night, and it was decent, but it wasn't, the spectacle that people on social media are making it sound like. The first match was really good. I would go as far to say as I know our good buddy, friend of the show, Dave Meltzer, rated the first one 5 stars. I highly doubt he's going to do the same thing for this one just because it didn't go an hour. Last night's match, I would probably give 4 3/4. The first one I probably would have given 4 1/4. Just because our time limits are not by definition automatically a 5-star match because they go an hour. It just,
they got to be good.
Yeah, and it was okay, but it just seemed to drag on. But I mentioned this on our last podcast a couple weeks ago. It could also be because of the, lots of commercial breaks that they had. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that. How many commercial breaks did they have during the match? Maybe 2.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
So anyway, we'll leave the AW discussion at that. But speaking of having to change matches, we have a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, which obviously was not supposed to be the plan to start with because he wasn't even in the match to start with. So,
well, let's talk about let's talk about the photo we found. So I forgot who shared it, but there was a photo that was shared that was posted by Fox on WWE, I believe.
Yeah, it was WWE on Fox's Twitter.
And it was a picture, and it had Brock Lesnar as the winner. It was the results of the pay-per-view. And it had Brock Lesnar's face as the winner of the match. But underneath it, there was a small little typo.
the little one.
That says Big E defeats Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley to retain his title. So we have Brock Lesnar's face. Big E says he wins. And it only showed Fatal 4-Way results. It didn't even have Brock's name.
No reference to, at least in terms of text, no reference to Lesnar, no reference to it changed to a Fatal 5-Way match.
Nothing. All the other results are correct, which tells me they had this graphic ready to go, ready to post, and someone didn't do their due diligence to make sure that the little sentence at the bottom there was correct.
But that's not all. For added fun, I read, I think it was yesterday, the day before. Again, good buddy Dave Meltzer said that the plan was Seth Rollins was supposed to win the title match. Like, he was actually supposed to walk out as champion. It's like, I'm not giving 100% credence either way to anything and everything Dave Meltzer says. I'm just throwing this out there because he's a prominent name in wrestling and wrestling news, etc. And he's been right about things before, so we're just bringing it up. But it's like, it makes you wonder, like, A, who are Dave Meltzer's sources within WWE, and are they probably just screwing around with him to
way that I saw the WWE universe, or the wrestling community, I should say, respond to this match. I got some issues, y'all, and I'm not happy with the way that people are acting and responding to this match. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm the one with the microphone, so
I feel like coming out of this, we're going to have a segment called Cole's Soapbox.
Yeah, because I get on them sometimes.
Here, you have the floor.
So I read a lot of comments, and the thing that bothered me, this is where the root of my frustration comes from, is the statement that was made.
Hold on. We're going to officially name this the Soapbox Shoot.
Let's get it.
Go for it. By the way, I have no knowledge of what Cole's going to say.
It really bothers me when people make ludicrous statements like WWE is racist because they had Big E lose this match.
Wow.
I want to just take y'all through a little field trip here of just recently what WWE has done. Bobby Lashley had a dominant title run this year and is the number one contender now. The higher-ups praised his title run. Big E was Intercontinental Champ, Money in the Bank winner, champion this past year. Apollo Crews was IC Champ. Street Profits had a long title run. Jay and Jimmy Uso on a good title run now. The New Day are 11-time tag team champions. I think the most in WWE now.
Correct.
Xavier Woods was King of the Ring. Zelina Vega was Queen of the Ring. Roman Reigns is one of the most dominant WWE champions in this decade, maybe of all time. Kofi Kingston had a whole build-up and a run with the title Kofi Mania. Almost is getting built up for what looks like to be a dominant run. Bianca Belair won the Rumble, headline WrestleMania with Sasha Banks, and won. Sasha Banks won the title last year as well.
Hold on a second. People are saying we don't have audio. Can you guys hear us?
Check 1, check 2.
Chris had started talking crap about Meltzer and you lose audio. Hey, guys, let us know if you can hear us or not. Yeah, we're good.
We're good? Yes? No? Okay.
I guess we lost it. We probably lost it whenever our computer did something weird over here.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I have no idea what happened. It's like our computer went back to its screensaver, and then anyway,
it's back now. Okay.
Okay. Ramble on.
Perfect. All right. Where did I leave off here? Sorry, I wrote this out to somebody, and but it just helped me explain it better. So I'll say this: WWE might not be the best storytellers, book the best matches, or have good creative, but racist is far from the truth. This was just what came to the top of my head. I'm sure if I sat down, I could name several more things. They did away with the rematch clause because this was somebody's complaint, is that what about Big E has to fight another Fatal 4-Way match to get his rematch? I was like, y'all don't watch wrestling. They literally got rid of the rematch clause years ago. Announced it on television. It wasn't like it was just something they just stopped doing. They announced it on television. Where am I at? Anyways, they did away with the rematch clause a few years back. This is how the business works. But just because he lost doesn't mean it cannot come back around full circle. Paul Heyman got on TV and praised Big E as Brock Lesnar's manager. Praised Big E for his title run, his abilities.
Which, by the way, who else had on their bingo card that we would see Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar together as a face tandem?
I love it.
I do too.
But praised Big E on TV and says he hopes he gets another chance at the title and that Brock Lesnar would love to face him. No way WWE lets that air if they didn't share the same feelings. He will get another time to shine. But let me say this even further. Big E needs to move on from this and go fight for the U.S. title. Why? Because it would make him a Grand Slam champion. Big E has won tag titles, the IC. He's now been WWE champion. If he goes and wins the U.S. title, he is a Grand Slam champion. He is accomplished. Yes, I get he 8 pins, but everyone acts like that every champion has to be a Roman Reigns type champion where they can't get pinned and they always have to be the guy. You know how many times John Cena took a pin on a Monday Night Raw to build up a storyline, or to how many times he lost the belt so he could chase it again? It's so ridiculous to me that people are mad that Big E lost this match. Let's be real. His title run wasn't very good. I'm just being honest. I like Big E. I'm happy he won the title, but they didn't seem like they had any direction for him since he won the belt.
Yeah, the booking was awful. I mean, they literally, I saw a rundown of all of his matches he had since he was champion. I think at least televised ones. I don't know if it included house shows. Literally lost every one of them. Every single one of them.
Right. I'm not mad that he 8 pins, though.
No. I'm just saying.
Here's the problem. They didn't do a very good job building him up to be the guy.
Right.
And they did the cash in to try to compete with AEW's, big thing that week or whatever it was. I think that was the same week CM Punk debuted or whatever the case may have been. But they did that to try to do shock and awe. But the problem is they didn't have really any storylines. Y'all, we're heading into Road to WrestleMania season. And I don't know about y'all, but Big E to me is not a big draw for WrestleMania. I cannot think of a Big E.
To this point, he would not be, no.
Right. I cannot think of a Big E versus so-and-so match that would make me be like, if that was the only match that they announced, I would tune in and watch that card. Now, there are several Brock Lesnar matches that even if you're not a Brock Lesnar fan, most people are going to tune in and watch because it's Brock Lesnar. He is a draw. You can't argue that. He's a draw. He's going to make it exciting no matter what. You got to get the belt onto people that are going to be draws. Now, I'm not saying Brock Lesnar's going to retain it at Royal Rumble and that, whatever. I think that we're going to get Roman versus Brock at WrestleMania. So, however that happens, I don't know. People have talked about unification title matches and all that other stuff. I have a hard time believing that's going to happen, but I that's not really where I'm headed with this.
Unless, I mean, as far as title unifications, what people aren't factoring in is that you've got 2 shows that are on different networks that are owned by different companies. You've got USA and Fox. Fox is its own entity. USA is owned by NBC Universal, I believe. Something to that effect. You're going to have to get them on the same page if you're going to have one central champion that's going to go between both brands. Because ultimately, if you unify the championship, you're going to have your champion go between each brand, or you're just going to have to do away with the brand split altogether. And they're not going to do that.
Yeah, it'd be weird that they planned a whole draft to end it 2 or 3 months later. They're not that close knit in their booking. So, but it just bothered me the reaction, y'all. That they screwed Big E and all this stuff. It's not screwing anybody. It wasn't screwing Kofi Kingston when he lost either. I wasn't happy that they had him lose in 10 seconds, but they're bound to lose their matches. And that's just saying. And I don't want to, because I know people think I'm just using John Cena because I'm a big fan. But name any great champion. They eventually lose. And sometimes they lose in some of the craziest ways. Daniel Bryan got bro kicked at WrestleMania and lost the belt in 10 seconds.
Yep.
Did they screw Daniel Bryan? No. They made a different swerve kind of match to keep you on your toes. This is why I think WWE is so great at the swerves. You want to compare audibles? Roman Reigns, a day before a pay-per-view that was expected to be a really big deal. They were really wanting this thing to go over well. We'll recap it here in a few. But here you are, the day beforehand, your big champion, the big match that supposedly and rumored was that Brock Lesnar was going to win there anyways, gets ruined because he comes down with COVID. So what do? They call an audible. They put Brock Lesnar in that match. Alex and I both agreed that we really thought that match should have been longer. But
100%.
But I'm not mad at the result. The result actually
I'm not either.
Was such a good swerve in my opinion because I didn't think for a second Brock Lesnar was going to win that match.
And those of you that say you knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win that match whenever they put him in, there might be a handful of you out there that are honest and legitimate when you say that, but I've seen so many people that are just like, well, Lesnar's put in the match. I knew he was going to win. You are full of crap.
Listen,
I don't apologize for saying that.
The way they booked that match, though, and I don't want to get ahead of us, so maybe we'll just transition into our day one recaps.
We'll need to recap.
And let's just start with this match. How about that? We'll work our way down instead of up.
That'll work.
Since we're already on it. The match was good. I love the Seth Owens. I'm going to call him that. The Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens team up. And the way they booked it with Bobby spearing Brock through the barricade, them taking him down, Seth and Kevin taking him down. I thought they were definitely going to keep him incapacitated enough to where he doesn't take the pin. We got the Brock Lesnar show up and the pop and everything, all that different stuff. That's where I thought it was headed with it. I thought they were also going to tease a Bobby Brock spots and whatnot in it. They didn't do a whole lot of that. They had Bobby pretty much demolish him every single time that they could without him knowing it was coming. And it set up perfectly, though, for a Royal Rumble match, for a dream match that we've all been begging for with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, with promo battles between Paul Heyman and MVP. This turned out great. It also has Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins looking like they could possibly go on a tag title run at this point.
Which I'd be all right with. I mean,
they're comedic and they're good. It's fun to watch.
Imagine them against Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Like, not only do you have 4 guys that can compete in the ring, but you have 4 guys that have personality, that are
history. They all have history
that can be comedic. That would be a good feud.
I'm just saying
that could easily be in my opinion, that could be like a co-main event on a WrestleMania. It's not going to be because it's tag teams.
To me, it's a kickoff match. It's not like the pre-show, but it's the match that's going to get you fired up at the beginning of the show.
I'm just saying that McMahon doesn't. It's well known that he is not a fan of tag team wrestling in general. So that's what I meant when I said it's never going to be a main event, but nonetheless.
And so I thought the match was good. I also think, like I said, this frees Big E up to have a good match at Mania where he's not got the pressure of being the main champ.
Yeah.
And maybe they give him his rematch at Mania. I don't know. I heard someone's theory saying that they wanted Big E to get his big moment at Mania and that this was just booked so he could re-win it at Mania. I don't know if that's going to happen. To me, I like the idea of Damian Priest turning heel and Big E as the face and have Big E fight.
Well, hasn't Damian Priest kind of turned heel anyway?
No, because he just did a whole feud with Dolph Ziggler and was the face in it.
I don't know.
They've not fully. They've teased. I think they've done enough to tease it. And I think if you have him turn heel and you have Big E chase him for the U.S. belt, have him win it at Mania, he becomes a Grand Slam champion at Mania. To me, that sounds great. I think that would be a great match. They both are good. So, anyways, I thought this was a good match. I wasn't mad about the Brock Lesnar win. I think they have plans for all of them, and I think even on a swerve, I think they set them all up for good storylines for a Road to WrestleMania season. That's where I'm at on it. What were your thoughts on main event?
I thought the main event was good, like you mentioned. I thought it could have and should have gone longer, but given that they had to call an audible and put Lesnar in the match, I see why it wasn't. I thought it was perfectly executed, though, in terms of how they're wanting to build towards. We're getting. Has it been announced? It's been officially announced we're getting Lesnar and Lashley at the Rumble.
The Rumble card's looking good already.
The Rumble card's looking really good.
First time in St. Louis.
We're going to be there. It's going to be super fun. But, the card is just, even if we weren't going, I would be like. Yeah,
so far, we have Brock versus Lashley. We have Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Miz and Maurice.
Which I'm curious what that feud's going to look like, or if it's even going to exist going into Mania, or if they're going to transition.
Because I thought they were going to hold it out to Mania.
I
thought
too.
all of them would have entered the Rumble separately and continued the storyline from there. But yeah, they progressed it pretty quick. So
anyway, but yeah, I thought they built everything that they should have. I would say this. The only thing I would have changed about this match is because this was Lesnar and Lashley's first interaction in a ring, and everybody on social media has said that they've wanted it for years by now, and then we finally get it. It seemed anticlimactic that their first interaction was Lesnar just getting a spear from Lashley through the barricade. To me, I would have had the moment where they're, all five are in the ring, they're having their schmoz or whatever, but then Rollins and Big E and Owens are thrown out of the ring, and then you have those two in the ring, and they have their face off, and then we're off to the races. You could have still had the rest of the match like it was, Lesnar almost looked like he was going to get beat by the Hurt Lock or not, being able to break out of it. And that's building towards him being able to break out of it at the Rumble, I'm sure. Lesnar not getting Lesnar F5ing everybody except Lashley, the whole 9 yards. So I thought it was good. I actually thought it could have gone another 5 or 10 minutes. So, the match went 8.5 minutes. They could have gone 20, in my opinion. So,
let's work our way down.
So, Becky Lynch retains against Liv Morgan. I'll preface by saying I actually have not watched the entire day one card. Didn't watch this match. I started, so I'll just go match by match. I did not actually watch this match.
So this match to me was actually good. I enjoyed this match, but the issue I had with this match was I think there was a botch at the end.
That's what I read.
At the very end, it looked like Becky Lynch was trying to get her feet on the ropes to get the pin, and she couldn't reach the ropes. So it looked like she was kicking her feet back on the ropes, trying to get her feet on there. And I think it was supposed to be so she got another cheap pin over Liv to kind of protect Liv from not getting beat clean. But ultimately, she got beat clean because Becky never got her feet on the ropes. So that was my only complaint with the match. I truly did think Liv was going to win this match. I thought surely they're not going to have her keep fighting Becky time and time again to have her lose. But then I reflect back to when Kevin Owens fought Roman Reigns for the 5th time for the belt. And I was like, surely they're not going to have Kevin Owens lose another time to Roman Reigns. And then he lost another time to Roman Reigns. So I think this kind of sets Liv Morgan up on 2 different directions. One of which everyone's saying she's going to go and win the Royal Rumble. And she's going to get her big match and her big win at Mania. Not saying I can't see that. But I'm thinking at this point, we've seen the match so many times. I don't know if you can make that match any more special or any bigger than what you've already climaxed it to at this point. I don't know if you guys saw Raw or not, but there is a storyline starting up with Alexa Bliss making her return back to Raw and her journey back to Raw. They're going to need a women's tag title match for Mania. I'm just thinking the combination of Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan to me sounds intriguing. I'm thinking maybe they might team up and face Carmella and Zelina at WrestleMania for the tag belts. Regardless, I'm more sold that this was kind of the end of Liv Morgan's chance. They are having a triple threat match on next week's Raw between Bianca Belair, Doudrop, and Liv Morgan to see who the number 1 contender will be at Royal Rumble. But at this point, I'm kind of like, I think it might be too far gone to get her back into the mix. So,
again, we're working our way backwards. So Edge defeats The Miz. This match says it went exactly 20 minutes. I caught the first few minutes of this match, but what I watched seemed like it was, decently paced. But again, I can't judge the entire match because I didn't watch all of it. I didn't watch the most important part of it.
I love the match. These two guys both are just fun to watch. And so I love the match. The ending, I loved. The only part, again, might have been a botch, might have been planned. They panned to Beth Phoenix on the top of the stage when Maurice got involved at the very end.
I saw the highlights of this.
But her music didn't hit.
Yeah.
And then when she started walking down the ramp, they hit her music.
Then it didn't hit, yeah.
I was like, I thought their music was always supposed to hit before they ever came down.
I wonder if they did that because if they hit her music, not everybody would recognize it or know what it was. If that was their mentality, I highly disagree with it. I think enough people would know
who she is, man.
Well,
like that I get what you're saying, and I could see them being that way, but they would have known. And love the tease. I love how Beth Phoenix kind of distracted Miz. He got speared, whatever.
And Jamie says it was better that way. I don't know if I agree.
It felt awkward for me. It didn't hurt it for me. It didn't ruin it for me. It just felt awkward. It was an awkward silence for me.
And if anyone thinks that if they preferred it, awesome, fantastic.
I'm more of the mindset that if they were going to do that, don't play her music at all. Just have her walk down the ramp and go after Maurice. Like, that's how awkward it was for me. But overall, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a perfect match to set up for the future matches to come.
RK Bro retains over Street Profits, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. This match could have gone longer, too.
I'm going to preface by saying the main event was not my match of the night. And
I'll preface by saying that this was, for me.
I could argue this one and one other.
Anyway.
But this one was fun to watch. The Migos thing was the only thing I didn't like.
What the heck are they doing?
First off, it would have made more sense. I get that RK Bro is the tag champs. It would have made more sense for them to come out with the Street Profits, though. They don't match the gimmick. Straight up, Randy Orton walks down to the ring mad at the world, and Riddle rides a scooter. Like, what? There's nothing hip-hop culture about that at all.
I'm over the crossovers. And it doesn't, the genre of music doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if it's rap, rock, country. Just stop it. Stop it. Unless it's a WrestleMania, then okay, whatever. But if it's, I don't want crossovers over on every single pay-per-view.
Right.
I don't want it. I don't even want it on the main 4 or 5 pay-per-views or main 6, I guess. Supposedly their big 6 is now going to be the day 1 pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, which doesn't make sense because they're going to be in the same month. What I've read is day 1, the Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank.
There's going to be a pay-per-view in between Mania and Rumble. They haven't announced it yet, but it's in February.
Yeah. But supposedly their big 6 events are going to be day 1, Royal Rumble, Mania,
SummerSlam,
Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series are going to be their 6, apparently. I'm over the crossovers. Just stop it. Unless it's Mania. Then I can understand it. But
it still, to me, would have made more sense for them to come out with Street Profits, rap to their song, like do like a remix of their song or whatever, and it just would have made more sense. Is my point. Or if you want them to come out with a face team or whoever's the champions or whatever, have them come out with the Usos, have them come out with New Day. To me, this one particular team just didn't make sense to me, and then they sat out on the sidelines for the entire match and never really got involved. And then the only involvement was Street Profits kind of teasing them.
Yeah.
That was it. So overall, I thought this was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I like you said, it could have had more time.
Drew McIntyre defeated Madcap Moss, 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
This is the only match of the night that did not even need to happen.
Who cares?
It did not need to happen.
Moving right along, Usos defeated the New Day, retaining the SmackDown Tag Championship, 17 minutes and 5 seconds.
I would argue
a good opener.
I would argue that this could have been match of the night. The 2 tag matches to me where I was sitting on match of the night. This match was as expected. First off, New Day and Usos always put on a banger of a match.
I think this wasn't match of the night just because I've seen it before.
I could get with that.
And I don't like to, I'm not trying to be negative because, well, this can't be match of the night because I've seen it before. Whereas, I might sound contradictory because I love all of Okada and Omega's matches.
But how many, like these teams have been around almost a decade now.
Yeah.
We've seen this match a lot.
We've seen it a bunch. But
so I get what you're saying.
Doesn't take away from the match. So I thought it was really good.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
And then the pre-show, I'm only bringing this up because of the injury. Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeat Cesaro and Ricochet. But Ridge Holland gets a broken nose.
I mean, I saw it. If you watch the match, you see it. You cannot not see it. You see his nose crack, which is sad for Ridge Holland because he just got on the show.
Yeah, I know.
And they got him with Sheamus, which I think is a good spot for him right now. And I thought, man, they're really going to get him built up, get him ready. Royal Rumble season was here. They probably would have had him look somewhat dominant in the Rumble. And he's probably not going to get to be in it.
If this weren't the pre-show, like if this were on the main card, I would argue that they should have pulled an audible and had Cesaro and Ricochet go over because this felt like...
Well, they made Sheamus look like a boss, first off.
I know, but...
They had Sheamus win that match solo. I mean, like, Ridge Holland was only in the match like 3 minutes, right? Like, he literally got kicked to the face or whatever. And
I don't even know if it was that long.
He was not in the match very long.
Travis Bird, I can see your comment on Twitch. Moving right along, we got to move forward. What?
Jamie just said Ricochet needs to stick to being a 24/7 jobber. That hurts my feelings just a little bit.
Wrestler of the week. Do you want to give yours first? Or do you want me to give mine?
Yours is probably going to be different than mine, so I'll let you go first.
Okay. This was a tough week, and I'm solely basing on the last 7 days. I'm not even including the week before that, although I could. But just weighing all of the scenarios and storylines and audibles that had to be pulled and such, I'm going Lesnar.
Wow.
Well,
I did not think you were headed there.
Okay, here's why. Literally it was the day of the pay-per-view. Now, it was announced the day of the pay-per-view. He might have known the day before. Who knows? I mean, this could have been, they might have announced this the day before, but they could have planned this days in advance. We don't know.
They announced a lot of them were sick like a week beforehand.
Yeah.
So, which actually, side note real quick, weren't we supposed to get Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC title? Was that announced for the card, or am I just tripping?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Anyway.
I just wanted to check.
But I went Lesnar because at least how it was framed, how it was, I'll go with that word. At least how it was framed to fans. It seemed like he didn't find out till the day of that he was being put in a different match. And he actually goes out there and puts on a good match. I mean, and the thing about Lesnar is the thing I've been critical of is that, so Brybron says it was announced. I don't know. But my beef with him has been he doesn't sell enough. It's not that he's bad at selling, just doesn't do it enough. Lesnar as a face, with the the hairdo and the facial hair, the whole look, the whole package is a different element to Lesnar we've never seen, and I dig it. I wasn't on board at first just because, again, small sample size. We've said it before. I don't like to give my thoughts, opinions, judge something solely based on 1 week or even 2 weeks. So far, I'm digging it. And part of the reason I'm digging it is because as a face, he's selling more. But he's not looking like he's weak or being buried or anything like that. That being said, during the match, he got his offense in when he was supposed to. He took the moves, sold the spear through the barricade, sold the hurt lock. Timing in the match was good. You're going from having a one-on-one match to a match with 4 other guys. That's not an easy feat to do, especially
4 other guys you've never worked with, minus Seth Rollins. I mean,
yeah, he's never worked with Lashley. He's never worked with Big E.
He might have done something with Kevin Owens,
not often. If he did,
he's not there.
Yeah,
is my point.
So, anyway, all that factored in. That's why I went with Lesnar.
I like it. He's taking pictures with crowd fans now.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff. I'm with you. He kind of has what I would call like a Stone Cold face vibe to him, where like he panders to the crowd and everything's good there, but then when there's someone in the ring, he'll still F5 you. Like Stone Cold was always, whether he's face or heel, he was always stunnering everybody. So it just has that fun aspect to it.
Lumpy says, I really think this is. I think he means to say best. Yeah, okay, best run ever. So far, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Arguably.
I like it so far.
Mine actually is from an event we've not talked about.
Okay.
New Year's Evil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was my runner-up actually.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe not.
New Year's Evil had 2 contenders for me that I could have picked from.
Okay, I know where you're going.
And I had a hard time picking, but I'm actually going to go with Carmelo Hayes. Yep. Carmelo Hayes and Roderick Strong put on a phenomenal match. A phenomenal match. It was fun to watch. I seriously thought Roderick Strong was going to win at one point. They had me going. Now, my runner-up to the week would have been Braun Breaker, because Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa also put on a really great match. Rick Steiner was in the audience. They had pictures afterwards of Ciampa going and shaking his hand. It was just a great night. New Year's Evil, to me, was a great show. I really enjoyed it. But I'm going to go with Carmelo Hayes. He sold me on the fact that he can carry and take NXT into this new phase. Braun Breaker sold me that he can help carry NXT into this next phase. I think NXT is headed in a good area I think it'll help once they get all these guys that we're used to seeing on the black and gold brand moved on or out, however that looks like, and they really get fully transitioned into future stars. And so this was kind of the start of that, but I got to go with Carmelo Hayes.
I like it. But yeah, my runner-up was going to be Braun Breaker, which that was a heck of a match too. I know someone said earlier that, Bryan Danielson and Adam Page last night was match of the year so far, which granted we're only 6 days in, but I don't know if I can say that. Those other 2 matches were,
I guess,
were pretty good.
It's hard for me to give that the Hangman Bryan Danielson Page that much attention because I just not been happy with the story.
Jamie brings up that suplex spot from the top.
Oh, man, like there was just some really, and again, it got slept on because it was NXT and everyone's got this sour taste in their mouth with NXT 2.0. Y'all, they are putting on some good matches and they are starting to transition into some good storylines. New Year's Evil was a really great way for NXT to kick off the year.
So before we talk about the rest of 2022, we're gonna
remember.
We're going to recollect on what was the year in wrestling 2021. So I had this pulled up, and where'd it go? There we go. All right.
Now, before we get into this, are yours rated like number 1?
So
what
I'm going to do, I'm going to go honorable mentions.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So Cole and I are both going to give our top 5 moments in 2021. And, for mine, I'm going to go honorable mentions that I want to bring up and then counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, give me your honorable mentions because I actually don't have any.
That's fine. Okay. So honorable mentions, and I won't go into detail, but so we have Matt Cardona winning the GCW championship in what was a
good match.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
Defeating Nick Cage. Really, GCW's comeuppance in general in 2021, because they they're having a lot of who's who names wrestle on their cards. We have Walter's reign as NXT UK champion coming to an end. 870 days. That's 2+ years, guys. Mentioned this already. Big E winning the WWE Championship finally. The Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Lights Out match. Christian Cage's AEW debut. And Sting's first match in 5+ years. So those are my honorable mentions.
It's a good list.
So, how about one of us gives our top 5 and then the other one goes?
So I didn't really label mine out in like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1
kind of
scenario.
That's fine.
But I could kind of give it to you and how I would rank them, I guess.
That's fine.
My number 5 would be the Summer of Cena.
Okay.
I thought Summer of Cena was done very well. They really
I'm shocked you have this at... Well, you said you didn't have it in particular order.
Had he won the belt, it would have been number 1. All right? Had he won the belt.
And his name is John Cena.
Number 5. All right, number 5.
John Cena. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, he was going to say it. He was going to say it live on air.
I wasn't going
He was going to say John Cena sucks
I
live
wasn't.
on air. I cannot believe this. So, I thought it was well done. It was a fun time for me to watch wrestling. Let's see here. Number 4, I kind of put some of these in like categories, I guess, of things that were fun to watch. Number 4, I'm going to say the championship runs of Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, Big E, Bianca Belair, Deonna Purrazzo, and Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Those runs in general, I kind of put them all in one thing. Those were the ones that were like
2021 had a lot of good title runs throughout different companies
that were exciting, memorable runs. Like
lengthy runs too.
Roman Reigns has been an exciting, memorable run. Bobby Lashley's exciting. Big E, Bianca, Deonna, Kenny. All of those were memorable runs. So I had to give 4 to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna give number 3 to the Forbidden Door being cracked all the way open in 2021.
So by definition, it wouldn't be cracked anymore.
Yeah, I mean busted open.
The door is officially off the hinges.
We saw so many dream matches and matches we just thought we'd never see due to the Forbidden Door being open. So that would be number 3. Number 2 would be the AEW debuts of Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish.
Oh, you're going all debuts.
And Kyle O'Reilly. Not
Okay.
all of them, but just the memorable ones, the ones that people care about. We're not going to talk about,
No one cares about Christian Cage or Mark Henry or the other dozen people that debuted.
I'll say this: Christian Cage made my number 1 though.
Oh,
Christian Cage
really?
returns
Wow.
in the Royal Rumble, number 1. And Edge wins the Royal Rumble.
Oh, okay.
My most memorable moment of 2021 is the 2021 Royal Rumble where Christian makes his return. Him and Edge have that big hug in the ring. It was a great, memorable thing, but then Edge wins the Royal Rumble and does his big comeback story.
Seeing 2021 like I did, it makes me wonder, had Christian stayed with WWE and had WWE let Christian continue to wrestle, I really think they missed the boat on that one.
So many different things that could have happened. I've been kind of thinking back on it.
And you didn't even mention, in the same year, Christian competed for 3 different organizations and won the Impact World Championship.
Right.
So, no, I like it. I like the list. My number 5, Ring of Honor closes its doors for now. Could see them back in April. A lot of stuff has come out in terms of different storylines and such that Ring of Honor was possibly going to go in the direction of, and not that they still can't, but it's kind of left me intrigued enough to if they do come back, see where they go. Number 4, the entire SummerSlam 2021 pay-per-view. A lot of good matches. You had the double return of Becky Lynch, albeit
The way it was done was weird.
Yeah. Lesnar's return. Just overall,
It was a pop.
it was a fun event to watch. My number 3, Cena returning at Money in the Bank. I don't remember off the top of my head for sure, but I'm fairly certain that it wasn't an expected thing. Like, it wasn't one of those things that
Was rumored hard or
yeah, it
Right.
was a shocker.
the pop was insane.
There was the rumor that Cena was going to come back at some point, but at this point, Money in the Bank isn't yet one of their big pay-per-views. And when I say big pay-per-views, they want to have it in like the bigger venues, so to speak.
I remember that one a lot because I'm salty because I was out of town and in an area that had no service. So Alex was texting me results, and he said, "By the way, John Cena returned," and I was like, "What?" Like the night, of course, the one pay-per-view that where I have no service to watch this thing. John Cena returns.
There we go. So my number 2 was CM Punk debuting at the United Center.
Big pop.
Loudest pop we've had in a long time, maybe ever. You have people crying in the crowd, adult men crying in the crowd.
PG Punk.
Well, I can't really phrase it in terms of preface by saying, because I've already said it, but I should frame this in such a way that I'm not grouping the entire AW run.
Right.
For Punk, just
the return.
Although I will say this, I didn't get to watch all of AEW last night, part of which was the Punk MJF interaction.
Someone said Captain Sean Dean was the wrestler of the week because he got a win over MJF.
Yeah, I saw that it was a DQ win or something.
CM Punk came out right at the as the bell rang, came out, ran in the ring. MJF hopped out, and then he looked like he was going to show, because Sean Dean's from Chicago as well. Looked like they were gonna be with each other, and he put him on his shoulders, did the go to sleep on him, and gave the win to him, and started MJ off with a losing record.
Yeah,
and told him basically, "I'm gonna do this every match you have until you fight me."
I love it. And then my number 1, All Out 2021, the entire pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Again, great matches.
Probably their best pay-per-view that they've had.
Oh, easily. I would.
Revolution, the beginning of the year probably would have gave it a run for its money, but
yeah. I would even say the Revolution that I went to in 2020 was.
Sorry, that's the one I'm speaking of.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the beginning of
2020 is the one I was speaking of. Sorry.
I would still argue that this one was better, and that's coming from I was at Revolution, but All Out is probably in my top 5 pay-per-views of all time. And I don't pretend to be like this know-all, be-all wrestling encyclopedia, but I've watched pay-per-views since they started doing pay-per-views. I've seen Impact events. I've seen New Japan events, ECW, Ring of Honor, and at least for the ones I've watched throughout my entire life of, being a wrestling fan, when I have been, I've said this before, there's a time period that I didn't watch it, but besides that, and I've actually gone back and
rewatched what you did
filled in the gap, so to speak. I'd put All Out 2021 in my top 5 pay-per-views of all time. But again, you had great matches. You had the double debut of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. I still go back and forth as to whether or not I would have had both debut on the same night, but then I kind of talk myself into the fact that, well, if you don't have them double debut on the same night, then that really put a cherry on top for the night as a whole, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, overall, 2021, wrestling in its entirety, give it a grade, A+ to F.
Ooh, I'm gonna say an A.
Really?
I really am. 2021 to me, if you look at wrestling as a whole, AEW was consistent for the most part. I'm overly critical of them because they're overly critical of other people. But they were consistent. I felt like WWE consistently was able to reel us back in every time something started to get stale.
Yikes.
They were able to reel us back in. Impact, I felt like Impact had some sleeper cards that people slept on that were really good. ROH, we talked about how they had a couple cards. NWA, Wrestling at the Chase, was fun to watch. The releases that happened this year and all the different signings made it a very interesting year to watch wrestling. Adam Cole jumping over to AEW along with Fish and O'Reilly, and just there's just so many aspects, so many moving pieces. Like you said, the rise of GCW is involved with that. New Japan had some interesting things going on, and
which we've not even talked about Wrestle Kingdom at all.
You know what I mean? Like, right. Like there was so much going on that I just think it was a really good year to watch wrestling.
I don't mean any negative connotation by giving it this grade because of, storylines and such, but I'm giving it a B+. I mean, but I can't put it in the A range. B+ is just what I'm sitting on. For 2021. But Jamie Waldrop, C-. I hope 2022 is better for you. I enjoyed 2021 for wrestling. And
I think also coming out of what we would call the pandemic era and having no fans and stuff, a lot of those moments just felt special again.
Which, did we even mention that? I mean, wasn't 2021 when we had fans return for the first time to live events?
Very beginning, because Royal Rumble had fans at it. And then they went back to house shows for a month, and then WrestleMania kind of kicked off.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just a special year again to kind of get back to somewhat of a normalcy.
Jamie says lack of storytelling. Our buddy Ryan, Fear the Beard, gives it a B-. David Tilley gives it a... Oh, wait, that's not a grade. Top thing in wrestling in 2021, GBP, especially Ricky Morton. Well, David, we appreciate it. Travis says a C, just because WWE booking was almost worse than ever. NXT, he says, was ruined. AEW saved the year for me. But hey, I mean,
everyone's got their preferences.
Yeah, I hope wrestling is better for you guys in 2022. And we're going to give some predictions later. But first,
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Guys, B&B Scratchers gives it an A-. I like it. Guys, we'll take a moment to let you guys know that we are still going strong in 2022. We are going to be live every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. For now, we're all across all social media platforms for, I'd say, the next 4 or 5 weeks. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We stream to those 4 platforms currently. We do have an Instagram account as well. All of the links are scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. So please go and like each page or follow each page, subscribe to each page, whichever, the applicable pages, if you will. Hit the notifications button so you're alerted when we go live. I stress, though, please consider switching over to YouTube or Twitch. And I'd actually recommend Twitch because we're creating a lot of different, I'll say custom innovations, for lack of a better word. If you're not familiar with Twitch, I suggest you check it out. There's a lot of cool like emojis or emotes or whatever that you can react to. You can actually support us financially by subscribing to Twitch. And
that's where we do all our watch parties. That's where we do all of our things that are our big events that we do that are special outside of Thursdays are usually Twitch exclusive. So
any special watch parties, our 12-hour stream that we're doing in February, which I'll touch on in just a second, is going to be Twitch exclusive only. So yeah, I mean, between YouTube and Twitch, I'd recommend Twitch, but we will be streaming to both, but both only in a few weeks. So Twitch TV / Going Broadway Podcast. Please give us a follow on that. Again, you can also subscribe for various tiers. And if you have any questions about it, you can send us a message. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about Twitch specifically. But depending on if you subscribe and whatever tiers you pick, there's different emotes that can be made available specifically for you to use. Let's see. Hold on real quick. Twitch has commercials. I mean,
from my experience, I watch several shows on Twitch weekly. You usually get like a 30-second commercial at the very beginning when you
And that's
log
it.
on, and that's it.
Yeah, you don't get any more after the first initial 30 seconds. Fear the Beard says, just noticed shirts don't come into 4X. Guess I'm going to have to work on my way more. Hey, listen, let me see what I can do and see if we can get 4X shirts. I know that that's not available on our website, which I'll get to in a second, but I'll see if I can come up with something. And I'll get back to you. Ryan, send me a message and we'll figure something out.
He said motivation. New Year's resolutions.
Hey, I'll share this with you guys, not to get off topic, but I'm doing cold turkey on soda altogether. So aside from my one coffee in the morning, I'm just trying to drink water and see if the whole, they say if you eliminate soda from your diet, even if you don't exercise or do anything, you'll lose like 20 to 30 pounds in a year just by doing that.
Look at you go.
So we'll see. The first couple of days were rough as far as caffeine withdrawal headaches, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Sorry.
Speaking of see what happens.
Sorry, Alfred. I'm disappointing Lord Alfred Hayes right now. I forgot where I was at. Let's see. I told you guys about our social media platforms. Again, just to reiterate, if you are watching us on Facebook or Twitter, that will only be an option for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'd say beginning of February, we're going to phase that out altogether and be YouTube and Twitch only. And, that's where I was going with that. So Ryan mentioned our shirts, and I will throw these up. We just debuted these. I think it was on our last podcast a couple weeks ago. So these are our new Saturday Night's Main Event tribute shirts. They do come in the Saturday Night's Main Event colors of the red, white, and blue. They also come in our GBP colors of blue. Gosh, I'm not colorblind, I promise. Green, black, and gray/white, whatever you want to call it. They are on our website, goingbroadwaypodcast.com. Check out the shop. You can place your orders directly. $19.99 plus taxes and shipping for a t-shirt, $39.99 plus taxes and shipping for a hoodie. Guys, it is hoodie season. It's cold out there, at least here in Southern Illinois. We just got our first snow this morning, so it's chilly. Get yourself a hoodie. Get yourself a t-shirt. Get both. I might have to see if we can put some kind of a promo code. If they buy a t-shirt and a hoodie, both, they'll get a discount or something.
Ooh. A buy one, get one.
Get one
50% off.
If you buy both, you get like 20% off or something.
Buy one, buy the other.
Buy one, get the other.
Buy one,
buy one, buy the other.
Buy one, buy the other.
Gosh.
It sounds good.
But as far as our merch, that's not all. We're actually already getting our next shirt idea rolling, which I've not even shared with you yet.
That's the fun of the show.
Yeah, surprise. Let's just say that if you're a fan of old school wrestling, I think you'll like our next design. But again, all of our designs, that current design, prior designs, they're all available on our shop, and you can go check them out at your convenience. I gave you prices. If you have any questions, let me know. Buy one at full price, get the second at full price. So just to give you an idea of what's coming the next few weeks on the Going Broadway podcast, I'm going to play a few things for you, and we'll be right back. Next week, Thursday, January 13th, 10 a.m. Eastern at 9 a.m. Central, we have Nikita Koloff joining us live via Zoom, I believe, and that's going to be a ton of fun. So I'm going to, at some point, open a Facebook thread to, you guys can get your questions in for Nikita ahead of time. Do you know Brian Elias? He says hi.
What's up, Brian? Yeah, I know Brian.
Cool.
Good guy.
So yeah, next week, Nikita Koloff. Join us live, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. It's going to be a ton of fun, and via satellite like The Rock, something like that. But that's not all, guys. We've mentioned that we are doing a special 12-hour stream in February. That is going to be Saturday, February 19th, noon Eastern, 11 Central, to midnight Eastern, 11 p.m. Central. We're really looking forward to that. But again, like we said earlier, that is going to be via Twitch only. That's why I suggest, if you don't already, get a Twitch account, give us a follow, subscribe. A lot of cool benefits that come with subscribing. A, you're financially supporting us, which we do appreciate. B, you get custom emotes that you guys can use and such. We're gonna have guests on with us. We're gonna have giveaways. We're gonna have some watch-alongs. It's gonna be a ton of fun. And we have announced our first guest already. And I will play something, and we'll be right back once again. Matt Hardy himself will be joining us for hour 2 of our 12-hour watch party. So we're not messing around with our 12-hour watch party. We are kicking it off huge, kicking it off in style. So haven't decided yet what the first hour is going to look like, but hour 2, so that would be from 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Matt Hardy will be joining us for 45 minutes, give or take. So that's going to be a ton of fun. Gonna be a lot to talk about with Matt, not just with AEW. It's gonna be one of those, lot to talk about, not enough time to do it, but AEW run, obviously anything and everything WWE, tagging with Jeff.
Gotta talk TNA some.
TNA/ROH. And by the way, guys, we're not a dirt podcast. We've said it before. We're not gonna pry for any details as far as, is Jeff gonna jump to AEW? Like, If for any reason he brings something up and the conversation leads to that, but we're not going to bring it up ourselves. So if you're going to tune in just to see if we can get dirt out of Matt Hardy, that's not what we're aiming for. That's not what we're going to do. But he also has a new podcast that he just released with John Alba. Why am I blanking on what the name of it is? Anyway, the first episode just dropped earlier this week. I've not had a chance to listen to it, but I've heard it's really good. So, going to be a ton to talk about. So,
one more time for you. The date of the 12-hour stream is February the 19th. That is a Saturday.
Saturday, February 19th. And we're really looking forward to it. And we have more guests that have been confirmed, but we'll announce those week by week. In fact, we'll probably announce a new one next week.
There's some cool ones.
But, yeah, more announcements to come on a weekly basis. All of the announcements will be given first here on the podcast, and then, we'll post them on our pages afterwards. So if you have any questions about that, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll be happy to assist as always. Okay, let's journey on to 2022 and give some maybe bold predictions. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
now we got to preface by saying on this particular one, Alex and I thought it'd be cool if I took on WWE, because I'm a little bit more pro WWE. I love all wrestling, but I'm that's kind of my camp. And AEW is going to be done by Alex. That's a little bit more his camp, a little bit more knowledge from him. We decided to only focus on WWE and AEW because those are the most regularly watched programs on TV right now.
Yeah, and in all fairness, I mean, no disrespect to any other company, but it's like, I mean, top predictions, there's nothing really that I could come up with that's newsworthy that would be specific to Impact or specific to NWA or specific to New Japan. So that's kind of why we went this route. So did you go first last time?
I did.
Okay, I'll go first this time. I do have another honorable mentions list.
I don't have any honorable mentions.
Oh, that's one thing I forgot to mention. So going back to the Battle of the Belts, and this is, this could be a scoop, you guys. Could be. Not saying it is, but it could be.
But if it is, you heard it here first.
So those of you that might know him, Dan Van Alst, also known by Belts by Dan, he makes championship belts for, various companies. He made the Miro AEW TNT belt. He made the AEW Women's Tag Tournament medals. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, have heard of him. If you not, go look him up. I was talking with him yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. But he told me that he had 3 Rush belts that he had to get to AEW yesterday. So I'm wondering if we're going to see any different belt designs debuted on Battle of the Belts, or B, my first prediction as an honorable mention, we're going to see the AEW Trios Championship this year. I wonder if we get
like an announcement of a tournament or something along those lines.
Yeah. So just putting that out there. I mean, again, he said specifically 3 new belts for AEW. It could just to be spares or replace the ones that are currently there. Who knows? But nonetheless. So, again, these are just my honorable mentions. So, Trios Championship debuts in AEW. I think we'll see an AEW show internationally, probably the UK.
Okay.
And then I think we'll have more AEW signings and either releases or people don't re-sign. So I think we'll see Brian Cage leave.
For sure.
I think we'll see Kip Sabian leave.
Wouldn't shock me.
Joey Janela.
Yeah.
And then you could throw some others in. I thought about Sonny Kiss, but I know AEW is big on diversity and things like that. I don't know if they would let Sonny Kiss go just for reasons. I don't think I have to be more specific. I think we'll see the following people join AEW.
Are these honorable mentions still?
All these are honorable mentions.
Okay.
I think we'll see Keith Lee for AEW. Swerve Scott / Shane Strickland. John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie.
Okay.
Here's a bold one. Ricochet.
When is this contract in?
No idea.
Oh, you're just taking a shot out of the dark.
I'm taking a shot.
Released
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. If his contract doesn't end in 2022, I'm just taking a shot in the dark that he'll. Anyway,
I get it.
And then I've got one more that I'm going to save for my top 5.
Okay.
And my last honorable mention is I think we see a Hardy's reunion.
It's a good honorable mention list. It almost could be like your top 5.
Well, yeah.
It
gets better. It gets better. So, my number 5, and this is going to be slightly specific. This is kind of a bold prediction. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but we'll see. I think we see Johnny Gargano debut for AEW, and I think it'll be on their special beach break that they just announced yesterday, their beach break show, which is in Cleveland on January 26th. My rationale is, why would you feel the need to have to brand an episode of Dynamite at the end of January in Cleveland, but name it Beach Break? I don't know why you name it Beach Break in the first place. If you want to brand it something else, because it's Ohio in January. Anyway, but yeah, Johnny Gargano debuts in his hometown, Cleveland, January 26th. AEW Dynamite / Beach Break, whatever you want to call it. Number 4. And actually, I'm going to jump over to the chat real quick to see curious what other people are saying. Ryan says he'll be there. Awesome. Okay. Number 4, I do think we'll get an Elite versus Undisputed era. They're not named that, obviously, but I think we'll get an Elite versus Undisputed era feud that will lead to a blood and guts match.
I like it.
Number 3, I think we see Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi wrestle on AEW events, whether it's a Dynamite, a pay-per-view, maybe even a Rampage, who knows. And I think we see Bryan Danielson wrestle on a New Japan event. Number 2, MJF, at some point in 2022, MJF and a current mid-carder will win the AEW World title in 2022. So whether that's Malachi Black, Andrade, Jungle Boy, Johnny Gargano, just throwing some out. I should have said my last 2 are kind of bold predictions. So the mid-carder one aspect of it, I think it's pretty given that MJF is going to win the AEW title at some point. I would like to think it's 2022, but who knows? Number 1, and I toyed with putting this on number 1 because it's, spoiler, not to be anticlimactic, but number 1, Darby Allin turns on Sting and becomes a heel.
Huh.
So.
You said there was going to be Johnny Gargano was your debut. Okay, I had to think for a second. Darby Allin turns on Sting. Okay.
I had to throw some bold predictions in there so it didn't seem stale.
All right.
So.
All right.
Okay, Owen.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way, not to get off topic, we just watched a movie last night with Owen Wilson. It's on Netflix. I forgot what it was called. No Escape.
Oh. Wow.
Actually, it wasn't bad. It was a really intense movie. So
speaking of not bad and really intense, my number 1, or sorry, number 5 prediction, in WWE is I got.
So you that's right. You don't have honorable mentions.
I don't have any honorable mentions.
That's fine.
Now again, mine have a little bit more people involved, so I just kept it to 5. Number 5. We're going to see some returns, obviously, in WWE in 2022. Names like Bayley, Asuka, Lacey Evans, and last but not least, Johnny Gargano will make his return in WWE in 2022. We will see in 2022, number 2, or I have them reversed, sorry, like from...
No, you're good.
We'll see some debuts on the main roster. We'll see Ciampa on the main roster. Mm-hmm. We'll see Walter on the main roster.
Okay.
We'll see Raquel Gonzalez on the main roster. We'll see Dakota Kai on the main roster. And I got 2 more for you. These are the bold predictions. We'll see Braun Breaker on the main roster in 2022.
I don't think that's a bold prediction. I think we'll see it.
And we'll see LA Knight on the main roster in 2022.
Okay.
My third big prediction for WWE in 2022 is that you will see Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine take over NXT. We're talking Roderick Strong being the main champion. We're talking the Creed brothers being the tag champions. We're talking, I don't even know her name. I can't remember her name. She'll be the women's champion. And I actually, if they don't make that trainer actually start wrestling, the big Asian dude, whatever he is, they'll add another member to Diamond Mine to be North American champion. Any way it goes, I think you're going to see Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine take over NXT and elevate it 2.0 back to being a show that people want to watch. Number 4. You're going to see first time ever singles title runs from the following people.
Ivy Nile.
Ivy Nile. Yeah, I knew it was like a weird first name. So, title runs. This are going to be, all of these people are going to be first ever.
Oh, Jamie said he got cut. He was one of the cuts yesterday, which that was something else we didn't mention.
What, the trainer was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured he was because he does nothing. That makes sense. But then I think they'll add another member to Diamond Mine, a name that's worth following and watching, whatever, and be North American champion. So, first time ever singles title runs in WWE. These are all going to be people who have never been a singles title champion before, and they're going to get their first run in WWE. Austin Theory.
Okay.
Omos. Liv Morgan. Montez Ford. And Ridge Holland. I think all of them will get some kind of a singles title run, whether it be mid-card champions, main champions, whatever the case may be. I think you're going to see all of them get their first ever singles title run somewhere in 2022.
So run through those all again one more time.
Austin Theory, Omos, Liv Morgan, Montez Ford, and Ridge Holland.
All of these in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
First singles title runs.
Yep.
Okay.
U.S. title, Intercontinental title, Universal, WWE champion.
Where do you think Omos is going in that? I don't disagree with the other ones. Omos, I have a hard time.
So this is not that I want them to.
I know.
This is where I feel like it's headed. You just had Omos go over AJ Styles quite easily. You've had him as tag team champion with AJ Styles for months trying to get him over. I have this. I'm not giving my Royal Rumble predictions yet because I want to give time to kind of build storylines and kind of get a feel for who they're kind of really pushing hard. But Omos has to be in that top 5 of potentials to win the Rumble. The way that they're booking him, his size, everything, the endorsement of The Undertaker saying that he'll be the closest thing to
24/7.
You know,
I love it.
I think that they're kind of headed in the direction that he could potentially win the Rumble and potentially become Raw's main champion.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I want that. I'm just saying that the way they're booking him feels dominant and feels hard to believe that they're not going to continue to push him.
I hear you.
Our last but not least, Botb. This is the I'm going far out here.
Okay.
This is some months away, but I'm going to go ahead and give you Money in the Bank winners.
Ooh. Okay.
For the women's Money in the Bank, Shayna Baszler.
Okay.
I think they're going to kind of keep her mid-card relevant until Money in the Bank. She's going to win it, and she is going to terrorize the women's roster with that thing until it's time to cash in. She'll finally get to be the main card women's champion on whichever brand she's on at the time or decides to cash in on. But I think the women's Money in the Bank is going to be Shayna Baszler, and I'm about to give you the men's Money in the Bank winner for 2022. I believe is going to be Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is going to be in the match. Finn Balor will tease people with that cash in. We'll finally get the Finn Balor title run we should have got when they first introduced the Universal Championship, and he got injured, so he'll cash that in. Maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns will still be the champion, and he'll cash in on Roman Reigns and end Roman Reigns' streak. Just a thought.
Okay.
Don't know where we're headed with it, but early predictions on Money in the Bank winners, Shayna Baszler and Finn Balor.
Since we're not doing a fan mail segment today, I want to go to the chat and see if anyone else has any specific predictions. Let's see. I'm trying to go back up towards the top. Let's see. David Tilley says 2022, MJF will have gold. I will be annoying with Marco Mania quoting MJF. Cole will sit in jail after the Rumble. Christian Cage will turn on Jurassic Express. That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Becky will turn face. KO will turn face, then heel, etc. Bliss will have gold. Cole will turn on Alex, going heel after putting him through a window.
Jamie Waldrop says Mox returns, takes strap from Hangman, enters feud with Punk.
Huh. Interesting. Steven says Punk or Danielson go to New Japan. Also says Trios Championship.
A trio belt winner at Revolution. That's not a bad prediction. Let's see here. Fear the Beard says Roman's still undefeated in 2022. Owens, WWE champ. Triple H leaves WWE and makes his own company.
Ooh, that's...
Orton wins the WWE title a few times to become 17-time champ.
Don't know about those last two.
I will say this. If Orton wins enough to be at 16, they need to have Orton and Cena in that match for whoever they go after.
Okay. Marco will leave wrestling after winning The Voice. B&B Scratchers. Liv Morgan gets released and tags with Ruby Soho in AEW. I don't know about that one. Jamie Waldrop, War Machine to AEW.
That's interesting.
Someone
just said, David Tilley asked, will Ric Flair show up at Battle of the Belts? I don't think AEW is interested in Flair at all.
I don't think he is. I don't think they are either. Fear the Beard, Bray Wyatt returns to WWE at the Rumble. CM Punk will turn heel.
Needs to. PG Punk. Darby can be with Malachi Black and whoever his partner is, Brody King, be their third member. I don't see it.
Cole wins the Royal Rumble by eliminating Johnny Knoxville.
I'll go for it.
Roderick Thurman says somebody will kick out of End of Days. Did you see that stat? Nobody has.
I saw that. It's a good finisher though too. I'll say.
Last two. Lumpy says Marco Stunt wins TNT title. That might be the most bold prediction we've read so far.
That's if they're gonna retire it, I guess.
And David Tilley says Jericho announces his retirement. Possibly. Oh, Tommy likes wingies. I love it.
What a great name.
Vince fires rest of roster. And
well,
Thomas says CM Punk will actually lose a match in 2022.
Had some Money in the Bank predictions. B&B Scratcher says Shotzi wins Money in the Bank.
Okay.
And Xavier Woods wins the men's. Be interesting.
Well, all right.
Omos doesn't need a ladder to win Money in the Bank.
That's so true. That's a great take. Let's take a look at Battle of the Belts. There's not really much to preview so far, at least in terms of what's been announced. But
it looks lame. You said, let's take a look.
Well, yeah.
So far.
I think we can agree, if we're just looking at the two title matches that have been announced, that there's not going to be a title change. Would you agree with that?
Let's talk about it real quick. Who was it? It's Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes, a match we've seen 1,000 times. And it's
Britt Baker defending against Riho.
Bricky Baker.
Britt
Baker facing against Riho. Another match we've seen before already. Riho's not winning the women's title.
No.
And I just have a hard time believing with Cody just winning the belt that they're going to have him lose it like so quickly back to Sammy. It would have made no sense for Sammy to lose it then, in my opinion.
I will say this. If you're going to add any kind of intrigue to this rematch, this needs to somehow, some way, shape, or form be the final definitive turn Cody heel. Now, here's the thing. When you turn Cody heel, he's probably going to get a pop. Because that's just the way it is right now. People want to see it, and once they get it, it's like, yeah, it finally happened. And then, I'm sure weeks later he'll get booed, but people will enjoy booing him. That's why they boo him now.
Yeah, or they need to make a stipulation where if he loses, he can never challenge for the TNT title ever again either. That way we can just get him off TV. That's where I'm at. It's like he's getting boring to watch.
As far as matches they could put on here, I'm sure all 5 championships will be defended in some way, shape, or form. Let's just
talk about the atrocity of Jade Cargill being the.
I don't want to talk about that.
TBS.
You can if you want. I'm sure she'll defend it on this card. I'm sure
TBS
she'll retain.
Champion.
She'll retain it.
I don't know who she'd fight, but that was.
Frankly, terrible. I don't care.
The tag belts, Jurassic Express versus whoever they decide to put it. I mean, there's a lot of great tag teams, so I think potentially the tag match could be match of the night, just for the standpoint of you're gonna have probably 2 really good teams in it.
Which, by the way, this is another thing that's atrocious. This is only going to be an hour card.
Right. So I'm almost thinking,
why isn't this going to be make it 2 hours?
I'm almost thinking there's not going to be every belt defended, which kind of defeats the purpose of the night. I don't think the main title is getting defended on this card.
It might not be.
With Hangman Page just fighting that match with Bryan Danielson, nobody really announced for it unless they announced something on
Chris says
Rampage.
They've said not all titles will be on the line. Okay.
That's a stupid name for an event then. I just want to put that out. You can't have an event called Battle of the Belts and only defend 2 of the, not even half your belts. have been announced, at least so far on the card. The TNT title and the women's belt's been announced. I'm assuming you'll throw a tag match together last minute. But an hour is only, 3 matches, maybe tops if they're any good?
They've squeezed 4 into a Rampage before.
So Jade Cargill will probably get a match, and it'll be a 5-minute match against whoever she fights, and we'll get a tag match probably.
Here's what I don't want to see. I mean, if you're going to have her be in a match, at least have it be Jade Cargill against a name that's in AEW. Don't have it be like, no disrespect to, like some of these like Sumi Suyaki or whatever her name is kind of deals.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see someone that's, again, no disrespect. I'm just equating it to.
I think it's going to be like a Red Velvet or.
I don't even want to see that.
I know. I'm just. It's going to be hard for them to put a name against her if it's going to be a 5-minute match.
Have it be against Thunder Rosa, or have it be against, someone that you feature on TV. Have it be against Rebel, or have it be against.
Jamie Hayter might not be a bad one.
I get the heel versus heel dynamic, but like Chris Statlander. Anyway. The more we talk about it, I'm inclined to agree that we're not going to see a World Heavyweight title match. If we do, it's pointless.
It's not going to be very long. Sammy Guevara Cody is going to go at least 15 minutes, I'd have to guess. And the Britt Baker-Riho match will probably go 10. So you're at 25 minutes right there. You got commercials, too. So on top of all of that, you're going to try to get in a 10-minute tag match, which puts you at 35 minutes. Let's just say a 5-minute Jay Cargill match that puts you at 40. Commercials take up probably 10 minutes of that. You only have about a 10-minute window. You'll probably get an interview with Hangman Page, a build up to something else with other teams, maybe the announcement of a trios title.
Here's what I'm getting at. This isn't supposed to be interview with the belts. It's supposed to be battle of the belts.
Right.
You need this to be a 2-hour card and have every championship defended.
This should have been the following Wednesday.
And then as far as the tag title match, I don't even know. Jurassic Express against
versus
FTR against
Red Dragon would be a good one to throw in there, but I wouldn't want it to be such a.
I'd want that to be a build.
I'd want it to be a build. So I'm thinking Private Party. I'm thinking the Acclaimed, Varsity Blondes, Butcher and the Blade. Somebody that will put on a good match but doesn't need to win.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's going to be our Battle of the Belts preview because we don't really have anything else. So, however, it is time for our GBP Game Show. Normally, this is a part where I'd play the little jingle, but I can't. I don't have the little connector piece to. I usually play it from my phone through our soundboard, and I don't have the piece. So, just pretend I'm playing it. Anyway, so
we were not called VB boxers.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this. Anyway, all right. So if you're going to be part of our GBP Game Show, we're going to do trivia today, and I need to get this randomizer thingy-majig pulled up so I can make sure names get put in. So again, we're going to do trivia. We're going to do 10 questions. Each question that you get right, your name will be put into this randomizer.
First one to get it right.
And as far as we've mentioned this before, there's not really been any consistency on our end as far as which platform tend to get to us quicker. But I will say Facebook tend to be the slower of the.
YouTube and Twitch here recently have seemed to be the quicker.
Yeah, which is another
back and forth.
Which is yet another reason why we encourage you to either use YouTube or Twitch, like we've said previously, and we'll continue to say it. We're going to be phasing out Twitter and Facebook over the next few weeks for our streaming platforms. We'll still use them for social media postings and updates and things like that. But in the next few weeks, Twitch and YouTube will be our only streaming platforms. So if you want to have a better chance to get your answer in and be the first one, I'd recommend using Twitch or YouTube, and I'd recommend using it now. We're going to do 10 questions. Again, the first one to get it right gets their name into this randomizer. We're going to do 10 questions. We are time-stamped down to the millisecond, so if we have a tie, both names will go in, or multiple names will go in, if necessary, for a particular question. And as far as what we're giving away, that's going to be a surprise only to the winner. Now, if he or she chooses to reveal on our social media platforms what they want, they are welcome to do so. In fact, we encourage it, but it's going to be a surprise. So you never know if we're giving away a belt, a piece of merch, a T-shirt, a gift card to Pro Wrestling Tees, a gift card to WWE Shop, an autographed photo, an autographed piece of memorabilia. You just never know. So, if you want to have a chance to win, please stick around. And by the way, I said this before, we will only cover shipping for free within the lower 48 states as far as the prize goes. If you live in Alaska, Hawaii, or otherwise internationally, you would have to help cover the shipping costs. So, scooch over to our trivia page. All right. First question is, who is the only wrestler to hold the WWE Championship, the WCW Championship, and the ECW Championship? First wrestler to hold, the only wrestler to hold all three. Oh, by the way, the name has to be spelled right as well. So, looks like we've got Jeremy Stoneberger is the lone correct answer that is spelled correctly. So, Jeremy Stoneberger gets the first one. It is the Big Show. Okay. Now, guys, you are eligible to get multiple questions correct. So it's not like if you answer one correctly, you have to bow out for the rest of the time. Continue to answer. You can get multiple entries. So, and by the way, as a point of reference, Jeremy Stoneberger is on YouTube. I don't know if that's relevant in turn. Well, we got answers. I mean,
It all came in pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Twitch came in all pretty quickly. Facebook, again, guys, is like last on our list of responses. So if you're on Facebook and you want a chance to try to win this, you might want to switch over to YouTube or Twitch.
And your answer has to be complete in one response.
And spelled correctly.
Spelled correctly. Like, you can't misspell it and then try to correct yourself halfway in another message. You have to type it all correctly, spelled correctly in one message. So, next question is, who was the longest reigning ECW TV champion of all time? By the way, no acronyms either. It has to be spelled out. No acronyms.
Ooh.
No acronyms, guys. No acronyms. Let's see who got it first. We had correct answers, but again, no acronyms. Looks like the first person to get it right and spelled correctly is Joey Carpio.
Joey?
Oh, nope. We have a tie. Joey Carpio and B&B Scratchers both got it. Wait a minute. Hang on.
Is it a three-way?
Yikes. Hold on. We have 1, 2. Guys, this is down to the millisecond. 1, 2, 3, 4 winners on this one.
Wow.
So
four-way tie.
We have Joey Carpio, B&B Scratchers 1128, Cartoon Network champion, and KJ Designs and Productions all got it right down to the millisecond.
Look at y'all with your fast fingers.
So I got to
add all of them in. So like you said, there was no acronyms, so the answer was Rob Van Dam, but we were looking for the words Rob Van Dam, so no RVDs were accepted. He was very clear on that, just so y'all know that. Again, all of those came from YouTube/Twitch quicker. So if you're on Facebook and you can switch over,
do it.
I would do that.
All right. I think I got all that. Cool. All righty. Next question is, who was Darren Drozdov's last opponent? Also known as Droz. Who was his last opponent? Wow, that was fast. Patrick Leadley gets it. And he was the only one this time around. And that one came from Twitch. Patrick Leadley gets it. It is D'Lo Brown. And again, guys, if it looks like, for whatever reason on your end, that... Uh-oh. I got to read it. What?
Chris Robinson said his wheelchair. I'm sorry, that's dark, but it's funny. Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, again, this is down to the millisecond. So if it looks like on your end that your answers came in at the same time, again, it's down to the millisecond on my end. So, all right. Jeez. Moving right along. Who was Eddie Guerrero's last opponent?
Oh.
And I will say I'll accept. Well, no, I won't. I was going to say I'll accept two different answers. It's got to be one answer. Who was Eddie Guerrero's last opponent? All right. So the correct answer is actually Mr. Kennedy. But, I mean, the first answer that came through is Ken Anderson. He wasn't known as Ken Anderson. I can't accept just Kennedy. So the first answer correctly was another Joey Carpio got that one right as well.
Mr. Kennedy.
So Joey with his second.
Kennedy. I missed that.
I
That
do
was
too.
fun. And the little mic that came down, marked around the ring with it.
All right.
What if he was in the Royal Rumble?
Okay. Next question. Who has the most reigns as WWE Hardcore Champion? I just need who. I don't need the number. Just who. Man, Joey Carpio knows his stuff. Joey Carpio coming in hot. It is Raven.
That's at that early a.m. morning, too. He's like at 1 a.m. in the morning right now, isn't he?
Yeah. Over in the Philippines, which, by the way, just keep in mind, Joey, if you win, you got to help us with the shipping costs. So, how many was that 5 questions already? I think it was 5. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 questions. Okay.
We got to go through this quick.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Okay. Next question. This might be a doozy. In what year did the Dynamite Kid retire? Again, guys, please, if it looks like you are first on your end, it could just be a platform thing. I have down to the millisecond on my end.
I actually can tell you guys, I'm looking at the YouTube chat thread, which shows me all of the different platforms that come through. And there have been several times where people's answers show up first on my screen, but they're not first on where they came in on our actual platform that shows us down to the millisecond. So the way YouTube and all these platforms work is that they don't post them all on who actually was first. They just kind of come through on everybody's screens in different times and settings. So especially the ones that come through from other platforms like Twitch and Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube. So,
and just a point of reference, I know. So Joey Carpio got his answer in at 10:55, and this is Central Time, by the way. 10:55, 16:3. Jamie Waldrop, who said his answer came in before, 10:55, 21:4.
right.
So seconds and millisecond.
So it and it's going to pop up on the screen at different times. So on our end, so I can see how some people might be confused because on my end it is showing up as different names first, but that's not necessarily the order that they came in.
Okay, I need to do some scrolling and see if anybody came up with the correct answer. Patrick Leedley gets it by 3 seconds on my end. It was 1996. I was laughing because who was it? I think it might have been Jeremy. Yeah. Or no, wait, sorry. B&B Scratchers and Jeremy answered at the same time, 97 and 95. Put it smack dab in the middle. So it was 96. Patrick Leedley gets another one. Patrick Leedley. Okay. So we got 4 more questions. In what year did The Shield debut? In what year did The Shield debut? Okay, we do have a correct answer. Multiple correct answers, and we've got ties.
Ooh.
So the answer is 2012 was their debut. And we have multiple winners that came in at the same time. So let's see. B&B Scratchers, Jeremy Stoneberger, and actually it's just those two that had a dead-on tie. Yeah, whenever we had a 4-way tie earlier, that rarely happens. Usually if we get ties, it's 2, maybe 3 people. So that's why I was really surprised because, again, this is down to the millisecond. So B&B Scratchers, 11:28. Who was the other one? Jeremy.
Jeremy Stoneberger.
Okay, we got 3 more. And guys, real quick, thanks for participating. This is, we appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. But let's keep it fun. So, again, we've said this again. We'll say it over and over. If it looks like there's an answer that, on your end, if it comes first, it's down to this Restream app that we use that we broadcast across all platforms at the same time. It comes back to me down to the millisecond. So, next question. Again, we got 3 more. What was the name of the tag team that made up Brian Pillman and Steve Austin? Or that was made up of? Sorry, I can't do English. Patrick Leedley gets it.
And Patrick is on Twitch, just for a point of reference for y'all. If you're trying to figure out who has the quickest response, it's definitely been between Twitch and YouTube a lot.
Yeah, we've not had one Facebook winner.
So just so you all know and kind of have a point of reference, Twitch, it seems like it's getting quicker on some of these. So
I take that back. Joey Carpio's answered from Facebook. Okay, we got 2 more questions. Let's Let's see. I have a bunch here. I'm just trying to pick out I want to pick out some doozies for the last two. Okay. The Intercontinental Championship returned to active status during what WWE pay-per-view in 2003? And remember, guys, it's got to be spelled correctly. Wink, wink. Okay, we'll say, well, no, I'm not going to say anything. I'll give it another few seconds. Lumpy says YouTube is slower than Twitch. I honestly think it just depends on, like, if you're running both at the same time, there might be a lag. I can't say for sure if YouTube is slower or if Twitch is slower. I just know traditionally Facebook has been the slowest of the slowest of the four, because we've had these game shows before, and Twitter has been quicker than Facebook.
Right.
So, okay, I will say this: we have had a correct answer, but it was not spelled correctly. To this point, Patrick legally gets it. It is Judgment Day. Judgment does not have an E in it.
There it is.
There it is.
And there it was.
And there it goes. Okay, so actually, I'll just wait to update the standings, if you will, after the next question. Okay. Now, hopefully, this last question, hopefully nobody looks it up and cheats, because we're not about that here on the Going Broadway podcast. However, I will be shocked if somebody gets this question right off the bat. If someone eventually does get this question, I can almost bet it's because you looked it up. But I'm going to ask it anyway. So, unless you're like me, like you tend to have a photographic memory, and if you were watching this episode at the time, you just remember it. But if that's the case, you'll get the answer right away. So, last question is, who was the first draft pick for SmackDown in 2004? First draft pick for the SmackDown brand in 2004. Who was it?
I'll be shocked if anybody knows this off the top of their head. These are all the answers I expected.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a time limit on this one. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds.
I see the answer.
I do too, and well, Brybron, I will give it to you. It is Rene Dupree.
Hey, Patrick Leadley was right behind you.
Yeah. So, Brybron gets it.
All the answers you guys gave. Listen, Alex asked me at the beginning. He didn't give me near as much time as you guys did. But he asked me at the beginning. I was like, like probably Undertaker, or, like I'm running through the big names at the time, like Triple H, trying to get a name.
Edge.
Could not.
Even by 2004, Edge was still kind of
So Alex
on
shared
the
with
comeuppance,
me,
if you will.
For some reason, this particular draft, none of the big names were drafted in like the first 2 or 3 picks. It was Rene Dupree was the first draft pick for SmackDown. I believe you said Shelton Benjamin.
Yep.
Was the first pick for Raw.
Yep.
And then
Mark Jindrak
was the number 2 pick for SmackDown.
Then Nydia was the second pick for Raw.
And then we finally get a big name.
Triple H, third pick for SmackDown. And then, by the way, I'll keep running down this list. So it goes SmackDown, Raw, etc. So we've got Rene Dupree, Shelton Benjamin, Mark Jindrak, Nydia, Triple H, Rhino to Raw, RVD to SmackDown, Tajiri to Raw, Teddy Long to SmackDown, Edge to Raw, Spike Dudley to SmackDown, Paul Heyman to Raw. And then you had a post-draft trade where SmackDown got Booker T, the Dudleys, Rico, and Miss Jackie from Raw. And then going to Raw from SmackDown was A-Train, Chuck Palumbo, and then Triple H again going back to Raw. So Triple H went from Raw to SmackDown to Raw in the same draft. So
we still need to look up. We don't know the backstory behind why they were drafted the way they were. And any of that stuff, but we're going to have to look it up and see why Rene Dupree was the number one.
It says here, so a couple of notes. It says Triple H was traded back to Raw prior to his re-debut on the SmackDown brand, and Paul Heyman resigned prior to his first appearance on the Raw brand. So, anyway. All right. Guys, thanks for participating. And I want to give you a quick recap of where we're at as far as the standings go. Let's see. We've got Jeremy Stoneberger. It looks like he's got 2. Joey Carpio looks like he has 3. B&B Scratchers has 2. Cartoon Network Champion with 1. KJ Designs and Productions with 1. Patrick Leedley with 3. No, I'm sorry. With 4. Patrick Leedley with 4. I said B&B Scratchers already with 2. And Brybron with 1. I think that covers everybody. So, we're going to do this randomizer real quick. Lumpy says, oh, this is the draft where they used the randomizer.
Oh.
Okay. So it's not really, so it's not, I guess it kind of is a draft, but it's not like.
It was their first pick, but they didn't get a choice in it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, 1 second. All right. Ready to do the randomizer. So, again, all of you guys are familiar with this. We do 10 clicks. Whoever's the winner on the 10th click is our winner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and for the win, the 10th click is going to be number 10, Patrick Leedley.
Patrick Leedley. Congratulations to you. Patrick Leedley, 9. Sorry.
Well, I was numbering the question, so I stayed on track with how many, because we had so many ties. I'm just like, okay, I got to number which question this was. So,
Patrick Leedley, congratulations to you. Also had I think the most correct answers, right? He had 3.
He had 4.
4.
Which, yeah, I think that was the most. So,
Patrick, is that a SpongeBob reference? I just got to double check.
Well, yeah,
the Leedle thing. I just want to make sure that
Leedle.
Okay, I had to make sure it was a SpongeBob reference. All right.
So
you're giving Tommy Likes Weenies a little bit of a run for your money.
Yeah, I like the name. So Patrick Leedley, it looks like you're on Twitch. Shoot us a direct message on Twitch, or if you're on Facebook, you can shoot us a message on that. But we just need your mailing address, and we'll get you hooked up. So thanks, guys, for participating.
As always, we do giveaways frequently on this show. So if you didn't win today, don't worry. There's always next time, because there's always a next time.
And who knows? Next time might be next week. You never know. Sometimes we'll do giveaways
with our special guest.
Sometimes we'll do giveaways that we don't announce. You just got to tune in and find out. Unfortunately for today, it's about that time. Cole, any final thoughts?
Guys, as always, thank you for watching the greatest wrestling podcast ever. Don't forget to go check out that Going Broadway Podcast merch. We have a new design out there. It looks really, really good. Super excited to rock it myself. So you're going to want to get that. It comes in the traditional Saturday night color waves, and it also comes in our black, green, and white/gray color waves as well. So you can check those out there on our website. So go check them out. Get you a size, get you a hoodie, get you a shirt. They are comfortable. And all of our previous designs are on there as well.
And real quick, to our winner, I won't mention his name. He messaged me on Facebook. You do have to message me on Twitch just so I know that it's you, because I don't want to do cross messaging between platforms, if that makes sense. So please message me on Twitch. You can send it. I think they're called whispers on Twitch.
Sure.
I don't know. I think that's what their DMs are called. So. But yeah, just recapping a few quick things. Nikita Koloff next week. I'm not going to play any of these promo videos again, just due to time, but we got Nikita Koloff with us next week, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We've got our watch party coming up Saturday, February 19th, noon Eastern to midnight Eastern, 11 a.m. Central to 11 p.m. Central. Matt Hardy joining us for our second hour. We've got more guests that will be announced. We'll announce our next one next week. Probably next week. We'll probably do it once we finish up with Nikita Koloff, just because we don't want to take away from that or steal thunder, so to speak. But we will announce the next guest next week. And we will have a special announcement in addition to that next week. It involves our first offsite podcast. So we'll give you more details about that next week. I think that's it.
That's everything.
That's everything.
So other than that, y'all, I leave you with your favorite thing in the entire world, your first crow call of 2022.
Thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
This podcast was a presentation of lightupmedia.fm.